Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.
All right, here we go. This is one of those episodes where I feel like I should just quit after this. Because how the hell do you top this? Today, my guest is Bruce freaking Lee. Yeah, that Bruce Lee. The Dragon. The OG martial artist who basically invented MMA before MMA existed. Like, if you're listening to this and you don't know who Bruce Lee is, I honestly don't know what you're doing with your life. Maybe you got hit in the head too many times. I don't know. But this is going to be wild. Okay, so let's just start here, man. I've been obsessed with martial arts since I was a kid. I did Taekwondo, karate, I wrestled, then eventually jiu-jitsu. But when I was a kid, you were the guy. You were the poster. Everyone had the Enter the Dragon VHS. You weren't just a movie star. You were like a philosopher warrior. And honestly, when I look at MMA today, the way guys train, the way they mix boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, that's literally what you were preaching in the 60s. You were saying take what works, discard what doesn't. You basically laid out the blueprint for the UFC 30 years before it existed. So my first big question is, did you know you were doing something revolutionary? Like, when you were putting together Jeet Kune Do, did you realize, oh yeah, this is the future of fighting? Or were you just experimenting?
Joe, you asked me if I knew I was doing something revolutionary. I would say no, not revolutionary, only necessary. You see, most men cling to tradition. They practice forms, they worship styles, they hold on to names, but the street does not care about tradition. An opponent will not bow to you. He will not give you the right distance. He will not respect your rules. So I ask myself, why chain the mind? Why obey a style when life is formless? Jeet Kune Do was my answer. It is not a style. It is a process, stripping away the unessential until only truth remains.
Now, I gotta tell you, man, one of the things that always blew my mind about you was your workouts. People think you were just doing push-ups and kung fu forms. Nah. You were lifting weights, doing isometric holds, you had weird homemade machines, and you were ripped to the bone. Like, legit athlete conditioning decades before everyone else caught on. I saw this old program of yours where you were doing these insane core routines, wrist strengthening, speed drills. It's nuts. So how did you come up with that? Was it trial and error, or did you just not trust the traditional stuff?
You mentioned my training. Yes, I did not accept the old methods. If the training of yesterday could not prepare me for the fight of tomorrow, then I must create my own way. I studied Western boxing, fencing, judo, weightlifting, physiology. I built strange devices. I experimented. My body was my laboratory. If a muscle was weak, I strengthened it. If a movement was slow, I refined it. Strength without speed is useless. Speed without timing is wasted. I sought balance. Not too much, not too little. Enough.
And I gotta ask this too. You were lean, shredded, but never bulky. Today, people get obsessed with, like, bodybuilding aesthetics. They want to look jacked for Instagram. But you had that perfect fight physique, strong, fast, explosive. Do you think people are training wrong today? Like, too much for looks, not enough for function?
About the body, I did not want bulk. A bodybuilder looks powerful, but moves like a chained ox. I wanted the body of a catlight, supple, explosive. To be strong, but not heavy. Fast, but not brittle. The purpose of training is not to look strong. It is to be strong in action. Vanity is a disease. The mirror does not tell the truth. The fight does.
Here's another one. If you were around today, I'm telling you, you'd be in the UFC. No question. Dana White would have signed you in a heartbeat. How do you think you would have done in modern MMA? Like, imagine you in your prime fighting in the lightweight division, going up against guys like Khabib, Conor, Justin Gaethje. Do you think your style would translate, or would you have had to adapt even further?
You asked about MMA today. If I were young in this age, yes, perhaps I would compete because the cage is a laboratory too. To test yourself against the best with few rules, with real danger, this is a good teacher. How would I do? I cannot answer. The fight is always uncertain. But I know this: adaptability is the key. To cling to one method is death. The man who can adjust, who can flow, he will prevail. Whether it is Khabib or McGregor, Gaethje, or any other, the fight would not be me against them, but me against my own fear, my own limitation.
Okay, let me pivot here. Because the fighting stuff is amazing, but what always hooked me was your philosophy. Like, be water, that line. Everybody knows it, but not everyone understands it. You weren't just talking about fighting, you were talking about life. You read everything, Taoism, Krishnamurti, Western philosophy. So where did that come from? Were you always a seeker, or did martial arts push you down that path?
You mentioned be water. People repeat it like a slogan, but few understand. Water is soft, yet it can destroy rock. Water adapts, it takes the shape of any vessel. When I say be water, I mean do not resist life, do not cling to form, flow with reality, adapt, and in that adaptability lies true strength. This applies to combat, but also to living. When life hits you, do not stiffen, flow. When obstacles appear, do not despair, flow around them. Philosophy, yes, I read much. Eastern sages, Western thinkers, poets, fighters, scientists. All knowledge is useful if you do not let it trap you. Fighting is philosophy with the body. Every punch is a question. Every block is an answer. To fight is to reveal yourself without mask. When you are in combat, there is no time to pretend. Your movement tells the truth of your preparation, your spirit, your fear. This honesty attracted me.
Here's a trippy thought. A lot of athletes today are talking about mindfulness, meditation, flow state. It's like they're just catching up to what you were saying 50 years ago. Do you think fighting naturally pushes people toward that spiritual side, or is that something you brought into it? Also, let me hit you with this. You dealt with some serious challenges in Hollywood. Straight up racism, studios not wanting an Asian leading man, people trying to hold you back, and yet you broke through and became one of the biggest stars on the planet. How did you keep that fire, man? Like, how did you stay motivated when people were basically telling you you can't be the hero because you don't look the part?
On racism in Hollywood, yes, I faced it. They wanted me to be the servant, the villain, never the hero. They said an Oriental cannot lead. I said, why not? If I accepted their limits, I would become their puppet. So I fought, not with fists, but with persistence. I created my own path. Enter the dragon. That was my victory, not for me alone, but for all who were told, you cannot. When the world closes the door, you must kick it open.
And I got to ask about movies too, because dude, Enter the Dragon is iconic. Still one of the greatest martial arts films ever made. If you had lived longer, what do you think you would have done next? Would you have stayed in Hollywood, kept making films, or would you have walked away from all that and gone deeper into martial arts?
If I had lived longer, what would I have done? Who can say? Perhaps more films, perhaps teaching, perhaps something completely different. For me, movies were only a tool, a way to share my art, to inspire, to show the beauty of combat. But movies are not life. Life is movement, change. I would have followed where the current led.
Last thing for now, because I know I'm throwing a million questions at you, is about legacy. Like, look at the UFC today. Look at martial arts gyms all over the world. Kids are training MMA at 5 years old, and all of them, whether they know it or not, are living in a world you helped create. Does that give you satisfaction? Do you think, yeah, my work paid off? Or are you the kind of guy who never looks back and only cares about the present moment?
You ask about legacy. I do not think in those terms. Legacy is for others to decide. For me, the present moment is everything. But if my work has inspired men to train honestly, to look beyond styles, to seek truth, then I am glad. That means my words and sweat were not wasted, yet even that is past. What matters is this: are you alive right now? Are you moving freely, thinking clearly, expressing honestly? If so, then you are living the martial way. Joe, you spoke of chills, of philosophy, of fighters chasing flow. Remember this: to smash an opponent is easy. To smash your ego is hard. The true fight is always within. Winning the world means nothing if you lose yourself. So, my friend, whether in the octagon, in the gym, or in daily life, do not seek victory. Seek truth. And when you find it, let it go. For truth itself is always flowing, like water.
Man, I don't even know what to say after that. I feel like I just sat through the most intense philosophy lecture of my life, except instead of some professor in a tweed jacket, it's Bruce Lee telling me how to live, how to fight, and how to be a human being. This conversation, it's heavy. It makes you realize how much of life is about flow, about honesty, about stripping away the bullshit. You know, people chase money, fame, muscles, likes on Instagram, but Bruce is talking about something deeper. He's talking about truth and how fighting is just a mirror for who you really are. And I gotta say, I'm walking away from this with my head buzzing. Like, tomorrow, I'm gonna hit the gym and probably question everything I've been doing. Am I training for function? Am I living honestly? Or am I just flexing for the mirror? That's the kind of impact this man has. Bruce Lee was more than a fighter, more than an actor. He was a force, a storm, a guy who changed the way the whole world looked at martial arts and honestly at themselves. If you take one thing away from this podcast, let it be this: be water. Don't get trapped in one shape, one idea, one limitation. Adapt, flow, keep moving. Bruce, thank you, man. Thank you for everything you gave the world. And thank you for sitting here and dropping wisdom bombs on all of us. And for you folks listening, if you're not inspired after this one, I don't know what to tell you. Go outside, do some push-ups, punch a heavy bag, or maybe just sit quietly and breathe. Whatever you do, live honestly. That's the lesson. All right, that's it. The one and only Bruce Lee. I can retire now.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night. All day.